Garden plot, your visual interpretation. Today we're going to begin looking at this EQ. It says, looking at the past and present, one thing has remained the same, the need for food. As we analyze this, how has gardening changed and how will it look in the future? I'm going to start looking at that today. There are a series of stations, you may know them called centers. That's why you have the little sticky note in front of you. If you have purple, hold it up. Or raise your hand. Okay, you people are going to be working together a little bit. If you have, and you're gonna gather your desk over here, not right now, in just a little bit. I'm going ahead and showing you so that you know where to go when I'm finished. Okay, purple here. If you have orange, hold it up. Okay, you people are going to be working together. You're going to go back to this section over here. Create some desk around this poster right here. You may take the poster down off the board if you need to. Okay. If you have pink, hold it up. Raise your hand, hold it up. All right, this is going to be your group later on today. Okay. Right here, you're going to meet, gather around right here. All right. If you have yellow, hold it up. Okay. You guys are going to be meeting back here at this table. Okay, thank you. You're going to be meeting at this table right here. Okay. And if you have blue, hold it up. Awesome. You're going to be meeting back here at this table, and you will in just a little bit. Okay. You were asked to create a visual interpretation of a garden, and our EQ says you're going to be analyzing gardening, how it was in the past, how it is now, and how it will look in the future. Okay. All these stations are going to help us do that. Okay. But to do that, we need to go back and look at some of the ways gardening happened before. Okay? Today I'm going to read you a book called The Gardener. All right, it's going to be read to you up here on the smart board. But before that, I want us to look at this book just for a few minutes. So I need everyone's pencils down. Thank you. All right, let's look at this book for just a minute, because this is going to show you the pictures from the book, but it's not going to show you the book itself. So I want us to look at it. Do you notice? What do you notice about this book? Think about it just a minute, and I'll talk in just a minute. But I want you to look at it real quickly. What do you, just as I come around, I want you to look at the different pages of the book. Other than that page is torn, what do you notice about the book?
It's old.
You give me that page, please. Okay.
It's limited color.
What about how it's written? Okay. That's what I want you to focus on. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you. What do you notice about how it's written? Think about it as I'm coming around and showing you the different pages. All right, let's stop for just a minute. And I want you to talk with a neighbor. How is this story written? With your neighbor. Stop right now. Talk with a neighbor. How is it written? Look at the pages. Deer and day. Nice observation. It starts with the deer and day. Okay. Now let's talk together. How's it written? Deer and day. Well, what does that mean, deer and day? It's written in letters. Yes, this book is written in letters. This book is written in letters, and it looks like, let's see, it starts in August of 1935 and goes through July of 1936, so about a year. So this is a year's worth of correspondence through letters. Okay. I want you to think about this as you're listening to the story being read to you. It's one of the things I want you to listen for is how this, why, and think, why was this story written in letters? Why, instead of them just writing it out in paragraphs or in sentences, why did she choose to, the author, Sarah Stewart, why did she choose to write this in letters? That's one of the overlying questions I want you to listen for, okay? As we go through, we're going to do just like we did then. We're going to have a stop and talk, okay? That means you're going to have about 30 seconds to a minute to talk with a neighbor about the question. Okay? I also want you to jot down some things as you're listening. So on your warm-up paper, underneath that, your warm-up, I want you to, the name of the title's written up here on the board, The Gardener, by Sarah Stewart. Okay, write that on there, and then underneath that, I want you to take some notes, okay? As we are listening. Okay.
The Gardener by Sarah Stewart and pictures by David Small. August 27, 1935. Dear Uncle Jim, Grandma told us after supper that you want me to come to the city and live with you until things get better. Did she tell you that Papa has been out of work for a long time and no one asks Mama to make dresses anymore? We all cried, even Papa. But then Mama made us laugh with her stories about you were chasing her up trees when you were both little. Did you really do that? I'm small but strong, and I'll help you all I can. However, Grandma said that I must do my homework first before doing anything else. Your niece, Lydia Grace Finch.
Okay, let's stop there just for a minute. With your neighbor, I want you to discuss why she said, until things get better. What does she mean by until things get better? What do you think is going on with your neighbor? Hey, what do you think? Until what? Why are things bad? What's bad? What's bad? Okay, but why are things bad at home? What's bad at home? Your mom doesn't have a job. Who you talking to? Okay, so I don't see you talking. Well, what just discuss? Yeah. Nice observation. All right, what did you decide? That looks bad. All right. We had a discovery right over here. Donovan, can you share with us what you two discovered?
No, he wanted her to stay with him because it was during the Great Depression and many people didn't have jobs.
It was during the Great Depression. I'm glad that you gleaned that from what was said. During that time period, it was right at the end of the Great Depression. Okay, and the Great Depression during that time period, there were a lot of people who didn't have jobs. People were maybe starting to get some jobs, but things like clothes were not a necessity. Except for one or two sets of the clothes. You didn't have to have a bunch of new clothes, right? You just use what you had. When you have needs, what's more important? Food and water or new clothes? Food and water, okay. All right, let's keep listening.
September 3rd, 1935. Dear Uncle Jim, I'm mailing you this from the train station. I I forgot to tell you in the last letter 3 important things that I'm too shy to say to your face. Number 1, I know a lot about gardening, but nothing about baking. Number 2, I'm anxious to learn to bake, but is there any place to plant seeds? And number 3, I like to be called Lydia Grace, just like Grandma. Your niece, Lydia Grace Finch. On the train, September 4th, 1935. Dear Mama, I feel so pretty in your dress that you made over for me. I hope you don't miss it too much. Dear Papa, I haven't forgotten what you said about recognizing Uncle Jim. Just look for Mama's face with a big nose and a mustache. I promise not to tell him, though. Does he have a sense of humor? And dearest Grandma, thank you for the seeds. The train is rocking me to sleep, and every time I doze off, I dream of gardens. Love to all, Lydia Grace.